Hello and welcome to People and Profit. I'm Charles Pellegrin. This week, an in-depth conversation about Cisco. The San Jose, California company has been a mainstay of the computer age, providing its clients with the equipment, services, and technology necessary for our computers, phones, and other devices to communicate safely and effectively. When it was founded in 1984, the revolution of the personal computer had started. And now, 40 years later, a new revolution is underway, that of artificial intelligence. And Cisco's President and Chief Product Officer, Jeetu Patel, is one of the people making sure it doesn't miss the boat. Jeetu Patel, thank you for joining us on People and Profit.
Thank you for having me, Charles.
So you've said it before that we're entering what is referred to as the second phase of artificial intelligence, where it's no longer about prompting artificial intelligence to respond to specific questions like ChatGPT does, for instance, but it's about artificial intelligence being able to have agency in running designated tasks. What is referred to as agentic AI exactly? Tell us more about that. How does it work?
Yeah, that's a great point, which is, you described it pretty well, which is we used to have, for the past 2.5 years, we've been used to these intelligent chatbots that answer questions that we actually pose it. And it's largely been used for individual productivity. We're now moving to this world of agentic AI, where agents will be able to conduct tasks and jobs almost fully autonomously to essentially automate workflows rather than just enhance individual productivity. And so it fundamentally changes the kind of value that you can derive from these systems. Probably one of the first few agents that we all might be familiar with is deep research, where the duration of autonomy is about 20 minutes. You can ask it to go out and do some research for you, go get a cup of coffee, come back, and then it'll actually have a report printed out for you, kind of ready and composed for you. And those kind of things will just, as the duration of autonomy goes from 20 minutes to 2 hours to two days to 2 weeks to 2 months to 2 quarters, you'll start to see that the value compounding will be pretty material as you move forward. And so exciting times ahead.
Exciting times ahead in that field. And there are constraints, there are hurdles to developing that kind of agentic AI. What are those hurdles that need to be cleared?
Yeah, so if you think about the key impediments that you might have in these technologies, we think of them as 3 key impediments. The first one is what we call the infrastructure constraint. We don't have enough power in the world, nor do we have enough compute capacity, nor enough network bandwidth to satiate the needs of AI. So that's going to be the first problem that we need to solve. The second big problem is what we call a trust deficit, which is if you don't trust these systems, you're not going to use them. And safety and security tend to be pretty paramount to going out and getting this right. And so we need to make sure that safety and security are kind of catalytic to the adoption of AI, which is the first time that this has ever happened. Usually you would either be safe and secure, or you would actually argue for productivity. This is the first time that AI will not actually take off if people don't feel safe and secure with it. So that's the second big area that needs to be solved for. And the third one is the data gap, where most organizations think about their data as their moat, their data as their differentiator, but how you use your data and how you organize your data to use it and train the models actually has a lot to do with how much kind of power you can harness from AI.
I want to get back to that idea of the trust deficit, which I find really interesting. It's difficult getting people to feel safe in using AI processes in their business operations or even in their daily lives. This is an extremely emotional issue for people. So how safe is agentic AI? Actually, it's extremely worrying for some people to think that there are these systems that could operate autonomously. And how do you build that trust afterwards?
So if you think about how these systems are designed from the get-go, is they're built on top of models. And these models, by definition, are what they call non-deterministic. And what does non-deterministic mean? It means that they're unpredictable. If you ask a chatbot a question 3 times, you'll get a slightly different answer each time. And that's why it's kind of unpredictable. And so what we want to make sure is that we can validate the model, that is the model behaving the way that you want it to behave. And when it doesn't, can you put the appropriate guardrails so that every single time someone is building an application on top of a model and someone is using these models, they don't feel like they're going to be exposed because a model might do something that they don't want it to do. And so that's an extremely important kind of dynamic that we have to keep in mind. Cisco has built a technology called AI Defense that actually helps solve exactly that problem, where we can not only have full visibility on what data is going into the model, how do you validate the model so it is behaving the way you expect it to behave, and when it doesn't, can we put guardrails so that when you build these applications, they have boundary conditions that they don't kind of go.
So many people immediately think that AI will take their jobs or their livelihoods. Cisco itself decided to lay off over 200 people, many in software engineering roles in California over the summer after posting increasing revenues, partly because of the growth of its AI infrastructure business. What was the rationale behind these layoffs?
Oftentimes, what we will do is make sure that we rebalance the portfolio so that we have the right kind of skills, and it's a skills rebalancing activity. It is not that we want to do lay off people because AI was taking the jobs. What we want to do is make sure that we can actually balance the skills so that people that have a certain set of skills can more be put in place versus another set of skills. So the 200 people that you're talking about was largely a skills rebalancing act. Now, if you think about the jobs kind of fear in general, what I would urge people to think about is it's not AI that's going to take your jobs. It's people that use AI better than you that might eventually take your job. And so I would worry less about AI taking a job, but worry more about getting to a base level of dexterity with AI. Because I think that this is true with companies, and it's also true with people, is there's only going to be two kinds of companies in the world. They're going to be companies that are very dexterous with the use of AI, and then there are going to be companies that struggle for relevance. So the way I think about this is rather than individuals being 20% more productive with the use of these technologies, what if you could actually have individuals be at least an order of magnitude or 2 orders of magnitude more productive with the use of these technologies? Imagine the amount of throughput capacity you would augment to the planet. And that's essentially what you're seeing over here, is if you have these agents that get augmented to our workforce, our planet of 8 billion people will feel like we have the throughput capacity of 80 billion people. And that's when you can actually truly start to imagine solving problems that we were just simply not able to solve before because of the augmentation of intelligence.
This augmentation of intelligence is why there's such fierce competition in the AI field, as you can see with other companies, but we're also seeing this around the world with countries. The two main actors here are, let's say, the United States and China. And one of the conclusions that can be drawn from China's goals in that regard and their AI Plus plan is that while they haven't created the technology, they want to be the place that adopts it the fastest, with the objective of having a fully intelligent economy by 2035. It's vague, but that's sort of how it's phrased. What's your assessment of AI adoption in China?
Look, I think China is a formidable competitor and is developing at a very rapid pace in AI. And while the United States is ahead, we should not for a moment stop being paranoid about others being able to, exceed us if we actually get complacent. And so in my mind, the way to think about this is speed in this industry really matters. And you have to move at a very fast pace, and you have to move with a degree of, restraint on honoring people's privacy and on making sure that we've actually got safety and security kept in mind. So those are the kind of guiding principles that you have to make sure that you keep in mind. But if you think about the entire AI era, there's going to be development that happens on infrastructure, where currently, if you look at the United States, we're pretty far ahead with whether it be chips or network or what have you. The second area is the development of algorithms, which are these large language models. And then the third one is the data itself that trains these models. And each one of those will have kind of varying kind of forces that are working for and against, and we have to make sure that we're using all of those to advance the cause of AI at a pretty rapid pace. And China is going to be a formidable competitor in that.
Well, staying on this topic of China, the Associated Press released an investigation this month which shows how Silicon Valley companies have, over time, powered and equipped China's surveillance state, a surveillance apparatus that's capable of tracking individuals' behavior and also predict it. Cisco is one of the many companies that is noted and cited in the report. Cisco is being sued by a religious group that's persecuted in China, the Falun Gong, because of how its technology was used by Chinese police to go after this religious minority. So what's your take as an executive who joined Cisco in 2020? Is the company responsible for how its technology is used by its clients?
Well, look, we always have to kind of look at the technologies and assess the downsides of the technology and make sure that we can ensure that those downsides are minimized. But in any innovation that happens, there's always going to be a downside, and you have to make sure that those downsides are in some way, shape, or form. You continue to keep finding mitigations so that there's the least amount of misuse of this technology, and you continue to kind of make sure that if there is misuse, you actually create control so that doesn't happen again. And that's what we continue to do. So if you look at the technologies that we build, whether it be in cybersecurity, whether it be in connectivity, we're constantly innovating so that we can keep getting them better and better and reducing the risk of these technologies having a negative adverse effect compared to what was intended.
Jeetu Patel, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for taking our questions here at People and Profit. And we hope to have you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
As usual, you can watch all of our previous episodes on the France 24 app or listen on the podcast platform of your choice. Just look for People and Profit. Thank you for watching. And remember, you are the one that controls the AI.